Hello, everybody. Welcome to Volume 1 of The Walking Dead review. Boom. This is going to be fun. We're going to be enjoying ourselves, guys. We're going to be talking about it. And you know what? I like to have a discussion down below because I bet plenty of you guys have read this. And I will be just kind of discussing it, my opinion, and some scores I give it. Number one, this is gonna be issue 1 through 6, okay? And it came out May of 2004. I was very young at the time. Did not, of course, read it when it first came out. Heck, I didn't read any of these when they first came out. But first off, we're gonna talk about the fact that some story elements to it that you guys should know about. The first volume is mainly about Rick figuring out what happened. So Rick goes into a coma, just like the show, and pretty much, heck, you get outside the first issue, you kind of lose any kind of. It pretty much goes off of the walk. It pretty much, the show and the comic book, yes, has some similar elements, has some similar, not events, but even locations, but you start going off the beaten path almost immediately in the differences. So I'm just going to say it right now, guys. I'm not going to compare this to the show because honestly, if you read the comic books and then watch the show, you'd be like, I'd rather read the comic books. And if you watch the show, then go to the comic books, you're like, why would I continue watching this show? That's just my opinion. That will be for such a later topic, at such a later, way down the line when this series is over with. But first off, let's go ahead and talk about Days Gone By. Boom. We have Rick in a coma. Rick comes out of the coma. Boom. He's like, what's going on, man? He figures out about the zombie apocalypse. Pretty much. He doesn't really understand it. And, I think this is really cool. It starts with him not really knowing what's going on and really trying to be more innocent more than anything else, right? So you get a lot of that at the beginning. And I think that's great. I really enjoy the fact that he believes he's innocent still. Or that there's some kind of hope at the beginning, right? And so he's like, well, when everything, he meets Morgan, and then Morgan kind of tells him what's going on, and Morgan tells him to go to Atlanta because apparently that's where a lot of people went to, Atlanta, and that's where his wife Lori and Carl and her son and his son Carl might have gone. Now, I will say this: he's like, "Well, you're in my neighbor's house. Just keep it safe, protected. But if they come calling for it, give it back to them." So he does a lot of this at the beginning, which is very cool, interesting, great. So you kind of see this, and then he shoots at one of the zombies, and he kind of cries a little bit because he's only shot a couple of times, and he never even shot a human, I don't believe, at that point. And he was a cop, and then he kind of discovers, a dead family, and you kind of see him kind of start to see, the depressing things that's happened since the apocalypse has started. He gets a horse, just like in the show, kind of. He goes to Atlanta. That cool Atlanta scene you see in the show, the same thing happens in the comic book. I think the comic, I was going to say something about the comic book comparison, but we're not going to really be doing that here. He goes running on, and he meets Glenn, and he doesn't understand that the city is filled with zombies. He doesn't understand that, and he's like freaking out, like, oh, like, why is this going on? So he meets up with Glenn. Glenn kind of takes him out of the city with him, and he discovers his family. Rick discovers Lori and Carl still alive. And he's very happy, very excited, and he meets Shane. Shane is essentially the main villain in the first volume. Shane has emotions and feelings towards Lori that we don't know. That they kind of make remember what happened that one night? Kind of insinuating there might have been a romantic relationship in there. And so he kind of starts meeting these other characters, and And so they kind of tell them their story, And so he's like freaking out. He's like, "Oh, I'm so scared." Him and Shane, who are buddies, when they were both in the police force. You know, he's very happy that Shane's been taking care of his wife. Dale has some complaints about him or have some suspicions about him. The women are talking. Now, some of the characters that we're going to be mainly focusing on this one throughout this story will be Rick and Carl. Because Rick and Carl is a story, and you'll see this through volume 1 to pretty much to the end. It's essentially a story about Rick and Carl, a father and a son through the apocalypse. In the ever-changing life of them, and the leadership that Rick has, in the growing up Carl does in it, because Carl's 7 years old when the apocalypse starts, when the zombies come, when the dead walk. Now he does have a conversation with another young girl. Why am I blanking on her name? And she says, "You think my daddy will come back too? Ain't your daddy dead? Ain't your daddy dead?" "Yeah, but so was your dad. He came back. My daddy was sick." So you kind of see him have like this kind of harshness to Carl. You kind of start seeing that. And so, you know, they kind of start discovering things. And so Rick and Shane's big complaint with each other is that Shane wants to stay and wait for the government. Rick doesn't. Rick wants to get out. So that's kind of a big thing that's going on with them. So they're kind of arguing over that. Rick wants to leave the closeness of the city, and Shane wants to stay. Rick almost gets bitten once while they go into the city to get guns. And so they learn how to shoot. 3 weeks goes by. I think a couple more weeks goes by, and at least a couple weeks. And and he learns about the backstory of all these other characters that are in the group. And so they lose 2 members of their group by the end of the volume. And, you know, because of an attack that they have on their encampment. Now, this is where Rick and Shane, their beef zooms up to 100. It gets up to 100. And it gets bad. Really, really, really bad. And so Shane kind of go crazy at the end. And this is kind of a big thing that I really value in comic books, is that there's no going back. And so Shane goes nuts on Rick, because Shane has feelings towards Lori, and she kind of told him there's nothing gonna come of it. Because Rick is back. And so what ends up happening is he has a gun pointed at Rick, and Carl ends up shooting him in the head. Wow. Yes, wow. This is all in the first 6 issues of the comic book. 7-year-old kid shoots a grown man in the neck, and he kills him. And he said, and I think this is very telling of Carl's future. And Carl says, "It's not the same as killing the dead one's daddy." And Rick says, "It never should be, son. It never should be." So that's kind of the overview of it. There's some great uniqueness to it, and some interesting stuff that's going on, and a lot of great stuff, and not great stuff, but a lot of cool learning stuff. Really interesting stuff that you get into. So story, I could give it a 10. I think it's a perfect setup for the continuing series. I think the Shane against Rick storyline was really good. I think the development of the characters is a 9. Not all the characters are that great at being developed, but I think they're either good or great at being developed. I just don't think it's perfect. Liking of the characters is a 10 out of 10. I think all the characters play their role correctly and well. Also, another reason why I put 9 in development, I think it's a little fast on some of the characters. Like, I think part of me thinks that maybe they should have kind of extended out Rick's. Rick's kind of like sadness about all this and being afraid, but they really don't. It's just kind of one little campfire like scene that occurs. Villains a 9, honestly, Shane's not the best. He's not the worst. I think he's good. Not great. Actually, you know what? We're going to move it down to an 8. I just decided right now as we're talking about it, we're going to move down to an 8. He's not great, but he's not bad. He's not a bad villain. He's a serviceable villain. He's not bad. He's not great. It's probably the best way to put it. He's good. Good villain to have. So overall, it's a 9.25 as the first volume gets. So if you're out there and you still have yet to pick it up because you watched the show and you're like, is it really worth it? Is it better than the show? Is it worse than the show? Honestly, I don't think I could give any of the seasons of the show a 9 or even a 10. I can easily give you this thing's a 9. This thing's almost a 9.5. This thing's a 9.25. Okay, pretty much a 9. And I think it's good. I think it's great. I think it's enjoyable. I think it's fun read. It's worth it. I read it literally in, I think, like 40 minutes. No, not even 40 minutes. I think I read it in 2 sessions of like 20 minutes or whatever. It didn't take very long for me to read the volume. So, come on, guys. Check it out. I think it'd be great for you guys to read. Let me know in the comment section below. What do you guys think? Are you guys really like... I don't know about that rating, man. I think it's worse or I think it's better. I think they could have done better about this, and I want to hear it below because I will be responding to you. I will be talking to you down below. As most of you guys know, I respond to the comments of my videos very often, if not pretty much all the time. So let me know in the comment section below. What do you guys think? Do you guys like it so far? Now, the second one will be coming to you guys sometime in the near future. Not sure when. I was thinking of scheduling them like, hey, we're going to do it every 2 weeks on this day, or they'll be uploaded on either like a Thursday or a Friday. No, I'm not doing that right now because my schedule is very crazy and I don't do this for a living. But one more thing, if you guys want to sponsor, please let me know. I love to have a sponsor in my video. Don't know why I'm saying that now, but I think having a sponsor would be kind of cool for this. There's 1,000 VPN services out there. If you guys need someone to sponsor you guys, check me out. I'll sponsor you, baby. Boom. So, yeah, it's just a side comment. It'd be fun. It'd be great, right? So, or a comic book store. You guys want me to sponsor you? I would love to do that. So, hope you guys have a good day. Don't forget to comment and subscribe for more videos. Check me out on no social media platform. Boom. So, hope you guys have a good day. Don't forget to comment, rate, and subscribe.